corporate world, and it works for a lot of people. And it's there are a lot of benefits to working in the corporate world. You know, you get a guaranteed paycheck at the end of every month. These companies are, you know, they're huge, and so they're not short of money. So there's a lot of security there. You get to work with a lot of great people. You learn a lot. They invest in you. They, you know, and certainly in the last, you know, for years, they've treated their employees really, really well. From the food they're provided, I joke here from time to time, you know, these, you know, like the younger generations, you know, they're not happy if they don't get their avocados peeled at lunchtime, you know, working in the likes of Google or Facebook or because in Dublin we've a lot of the European headquarters are based here, you know. So look, they are really good places to work. So I suppose I was in my early 40s when this opportunity to leave with a soft landing came along, and I say it tongue in cheek. I was like Jesse Pinkman leaving the burning house. I found it. It can be quite stifling working in the corporate world. You find it difficult to. Sometimes it can be difficult to get things done. It can be, there's just barriers, and there's a reason why the barriers exist, right? But even and we've some clients that, you know, large clients that I see the same challenges with. So even stuff like making changes to a website, coming up with a new proposition, getting the proposition out in the market, getting sign off from the powers that be, from, you know, whether it's finance or whoever, it just can be very challenging, you know, and it feels a lot. It felt for me, and that the battle happened inside the front door as opposed to outside the front door, you know, and having your own business then in that respect is liberating. So it's kind of, you know, from a it's very much down. I would say there are certain types of people that suit being an entrepreneur, and they're people who are very comfortable with risk, who like having autonomy, and the freedom to do stuff. Like I've worked harder as a business owner, in terms of kind of effort and hours and output than I ever did in the corporate world. But because I have the freedom to do kind of what I think is right. It's not about right or wrong. It's just you can just get it done quickly, you know. And when you decide to do something. So that's the kind of, for me, it's a balance. The actual, like, if one had a choice, you know, what your makeup would be, like the one I choose is the person that suits the corporate world, because, you know, and does very well there, you know, able to win the political battles, able to put up with the inertia, the internal inertia. Happy days, you know, bring it, you know, give me that, and I'll take it every day, you know. Yeah.
I was having a conversation recently, so I don't remember how much we've talked about this, and we probably won't go too much into it on this podcast because it doesn't suit the topic of the day. But I spent some time in the restaurant world. I franchised with Domino's for a stretch of time and went through a bunch of wonderful learning experiences with them, and got to work with the corporation. And a friend of mine who's also related to the brand, we were talking, and shoot, I completely lost my train of thought here. How did I allow that to happen? So we were talking about he and I both franchised, and we were talking about somebody that we worked with who was on track to go very far in the corporate space. Mm-hmm. And to the point that you're making, some people are equipped to handle and deal with that circumstance.
Yeah.
There's patience that need to be involved. There's ego management that needs to be involved. Not that necessarily the individual in the corporate space is going to have an ego, but they're going to deal with more egos, and they're going to, if they want to do it tactfully, you've got to, yours has to be in check, so somebody else's can be doing whatever the hell that it's going to do, and you not create an issue. And there's so many. I mean, I could go down a list all day of things that are challenging for me as a character in a corporate circumstance. And my point is, I was having a conversation with my friend, and some people are better suited for it, to your point, than others. And it's really interesting to hear you say it that way. Like, I kind of wish I was suited for that, because it's a little more agreeable. But like there's two sides of the coin, and there's benefits across the way. But some of that security and some of those positives of the corporate world, you're right, are fantastic. And then but it's got to fit the square hole round peg, or whatever.
Yeah.
Which those two, I think, is how it's supposed to go.
Absolutely.
But you got to find what works for you.
Yeah.